Sure, happy to discuss that. And again, I introduced us as a technology company, and I think it's so interesting to hear Tom speak because maybe, we incorporate ethics, but we also measure it. And so we're very much a Six Sigma measurement company that's going to be looking to utilize data analytics. We used to call them corrective actions, but now they're data analytics, where we are looking at trends and other red flags and anomaly reporting, looking to identify problems sooner. And it is all part of what I think is the message that we want to send all of our stakeholders about how we run our program and how benchmarking tells us that we're on the right track, which is incremental year-over-year improvement, right? We chart out a strategy for incremental year-over-year improvement. And so I see Bill asked a question there that you referenced about, do we find it challenging to balance the risk-based approach? And really our approach is to say, every year we're looking to move forward, and we use our surveys, benchmarking data, corrective actions, data analytics as all inputs into deciding what are the parts of our programs that we move forward. Some of that is what Tom describes: employee feedback, culture surveys. We're a big believer in the Ethisphere culture survey. It's been a great tool to drive forward for us. How do we identify employee concerns? We have 110,000 employees. So that's our means to get that feedback. For Tom, he may get it by a more personal touch. But I think there's more than one way to tackle the problem. But for us, it is utilizing all of those data sources and trying to incrementally improve.
No, that's incredibly helpful, Vic. And, Tom, just curious about your perspective in terms of technology and the enablement tools to help you be able to action and get some insights out of your efforts.
Yeah, we, at any given point in time, and we all know this, at any given time, you're in the process of completing one of these surveys. I mean, they all use different points in the calendar. Right now, the Dow Jones Sustainability Index just launched, EcoVadis just closed. And so at any given time, you're filling out one of these. We use the Ethisphere World's Most Ethical Survey as our touch point. So next week, 2 weeks from now, I think it is, we have our scorecard review with the Ethisphere team. That is our point in time where we say, this is where we're good, this is where we're bad. These are the ways we need to improve. And it's an hour and a half long. I highly recommend it for anybody that's involved with Ethisphere. Extremely helpful. We argue on that. We bring people in from each of the various stakeholder groups that I mentioned. We disagree with Ethisphere. They disagree with us. We agree on some things. But at the end of the day, we have a list of things that we need to do to make us better for next year. A couple of years ago, they told us that, you're really not educating your directors. You're not training your board the same way you train your employees. Well, we didn't really think about that before that. Now our board gets the exact same training plus more than as our employees. Several years ago, they began questioning us on climate change. What are you guys doing on climate change? Well, again, we don't manufacture anything. We can't impact the climate. Guess what? That's not true. We can. And so next week on Earth Day, we're launching a global program for climate change that we've worked on for the last year. So using all of these various surveys as input, we summarize it all on the Ethisphere survey because it is the broadest of all of them. It covers all those areas, and it takes into account the weaknesses of some of the other surveys where, for us, as I mentioned, supply chain things, it's not as big a deal for us. And so the survey moves us in another direction. So using all of these external benchmarking tools is really important. But again, and I say this on any time I speak on this subject, not just for Ethisphere, but for other organizations, the Ethisphere survey is the king of them all. I mean, that's the one that you want to use.